We didn't have an attorney that we knew. We didn't know who to go see. And the city was trying to strong-arm us to get out. We were the last business still there. They had worked out deals with everybody on the block except us. And I remember that I was in a meeting, and I was maybe 21, 20, real green. And I remember that we met with a guy from the city, and the gentleman from the city said, look, everybody's been gone now. Either you guys move, or we're going to tear you down. And my dad said, you know what, just so you know, I'm going to start sleeping here right now. So if you do tear it down at night, I want you to know I'm going to be inside. And my son knows it, so it's up to you. If you want to tear it down, tear it down. But until I find another location, we're not going to move. And that's it. We have a lease, and if you want to take us to court, do whatever you want to do it, but we're not going to move. So then I think he got the hint, and then they started working with us on finding a location. They kind of changed strategies, and we got a new location right across the street. And the city was at that time, the deal was they said they were going to help us move. So they did that, and they gave us, I can't remember now whether it was 20 or 30,000, but we spent all the money on just redoing the front. We had these old torn-up showcases. I mean, everything looked, compared to now, looked like heck. But we spent a lot of money. Not a lot of money. We spent the city's money, and it wasn't a lot. It was like 30,000. We didn't have any money, and we went across the street. And that was probably the first time that we started saying, "Wow!" Where we moved across the street, and overnight, just moving across the street, fixing up the storefront, and just creating a new ambiance. We put some chairs in. It wasn't again a strategy. We just said, "Hey, let's put some chairs." We're selling coffee. We're selling pastries. Maybe people would want to sit. So we did that, and overnight our business went up like 30%. And I think that's the first time that we said, wow, this is, something's going on here. And then we went along another 6 or 7 years, and the business started growing so much that we started outgrowing that location. And we went from, I think the first location was 500 square feet, then we went to 2,000, and this one was, I think, 5,000 square feet. Then in 1990s, when the real estate market started going really bad, one of the local realtors came to us and said, hey, there's a store that's down the street, there's a store that's up for sale, just 3 stores from us, and we worked out a deal, and we went ahead and bought it. It took us almost a year to do the construction. And at that point, that's when we started really, or at least I started thinking more and more, kind of like what probably most of you consider like a normal business person. I mean, before that, like I said, we were just working and that's it, doing what we could, taking care of the customers. But there's a lot to be said for that too. Don't ever underestimate that alone. So basically, we're primarily serving the Cuban community, and it was really interesting because it didn't take a genius to figure out that the million or so Cubans, well, there was about 150,000 Cubans in LA in the 1980s or so. And most of them were either dying off, moving to Miami as they retired, or just moving away. So it didn't take a genius to figure out that we were losing our market base. So what we started doing, and this is kind of funny, you talk about Latino marketing and whatever. At that period of time, it dawned on me, the last thing I want to do is put a Cuban flag, or put a Cuban bakery, or whatever. So for the longest time, we tried not to put anything that we were Cuban or Hispanic or anything, because we wanted to appeal to everybody. To me, I thought, if I start doing this Cuban stuff, people are going to say, oh, that's a Cuban bakery, I don't want to go there, and I was afraid of that. So we started trying to expand beyond what had been, our base. So we started marketing to just anybody else that we could. The local Cuban newspapers. We were like, no, we don't want to advertise with you guys anymore. Basically everybody knows us. We got to go outside of that. So we started working with Filipino newspapers, people that we started looking around and saying, who lives in Venezuela?